Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, inshallah ta'ala, sanabda al-qira'at al-matan al-ajrumiyyah bidnillahi ta'ala. Today we'll begin the reading of the text of the book al-Ajrumiyyah by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission, inshallah ta'ala. This book, as we have mentioned previously, is a entry-level beginner book of Nahu. Nahu is from the sciences of Al-Islam. Its ruling is that it is fard ala kifaya, that someone must understand and study Nahu so that it can be spread and taught to others. That if one person fulfills this obligation, that it falls from responsibility of the rest of the community, and that if no one fulfills this obligation, that the responsibility to possibly be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala falls upon the entirety of the community, similar to the ruling of Salatul Janazah. Tayyib. So many of the mashayikh, they say that it is an obligation to learn Nahu, learn and study Arabic grammar, because it is a condition, it is a requirement for a person to understand the book of Allah, the Sunnah of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and ultimately understand their religion, which is an obligation, and the prerequisites, the preconditions to fulfill an obligation becomes an obligation. This is a ruling in Islam. So the mu'allif, the author of the book, he begins the book with the title chapter, the al-kalam, speech and its types, and he begins with, as many of the scholars, they begin their books with the basmalah, saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, I proceed to do this. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission, we seek the success, the tawfiq, the guidance, the permission, the honor, the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In everything that we do, we single Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out solely for His sake alone. And from the most dangerous affairs for any student of knowledge is that he seeks fame, recognition, to become noticed. He wants notoriety. He wants to become famous. He wants to profit from his knowledge. That doing any action for other than the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is riya, shirk. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from this major sin. Wa'iyadu billah. The Shaykh, he begins his book by saying al-kalam. Al-kalamu huwa al-lafdhu muraqqabu al-mufidu bil-wadi'i. وأقسامه ثلاثة: اسم وفعل وحرف جعل معنى. فالاسم يعرف بالقفض والتنوين ودخول العلف واللام عليه، وحروف القفض وهي من وإلى وعن وعلى وفي ورب والباء والكاف واللام، وحروف القسم وهي الواو والباء والتاء. والفعل يعرف بالقد والسين والصوف والتاء تثنيث الساكنة. والحرف ما لا يسله معه دليل الاسم ولا دليل الفعل. This is the chapter of Kalam wa Anwa'ihi, speech and its types. طيب. So for the understanding of the text, after we read the text and we memorize the text, it is just as important to understand what we are reading so we may benefit from our knowledge and pass the knowledge properly on to others, inshallah ta'ala. The Shaykh, he says, al-kalamu. And what is kalam? Kalam is speech. It is a compound utterance. It is more than just one word. And by listening to this speech, that it brings about benefit that is established in the Arabic language, it is beneficial for the listener. The listener doesn't inquire or require additional information once they have listened to your entire articulation. Okay? So if a person says up, okay, what does that mean? If you're still requiring clarification, then that is not proper speech. That is not a complete sentence. And many of this may be familiar to you from studying English grammar or the grammar of your native tongue. Okay? So a person says up, down, left, right. This has no benefit to the listener. Even though that you may recognize these words, they are used without context. They are used without context. So it's of no benefit to the listener. If a person says up, up, down, down, left, right, he says Muhammad up, still of no benefit. Muhammad down, it's two words, right? But it's of no benefit to the listener. It still requires additional information. This is not considered speech عند العرب. It's not speech. This is not considered proper speech to the Arabic grammarians. If a person said, Muhammad, get down, okay, this is a command. It's clear. It doesn't require additional information. So speech, okay, is luft. It is articulation. It can't be sign language. It can't be body language. This is not considered speech to the Arabic grammarians. Even if you use gesticulation, okay, in certain dialects, certain languages or cultures, that this is appropriate or understood to be speech. In Amharic language, for example, they use this breath to affirm something just by breathing. It says, Naam, understood, I agree, okay? In Arabic, this is not considered kalam mufid, beneficial speech. Speech is broken into, like many words in Arabic, it has a linguistic meaning and it has a dictionary meaning, the meaning that you find in the dictionary, and then the meaning that you would find as a terminology of the science that you are studying. Okay, and this is called lughawi and nahwi. طيب. So the meaning of speech in the linguistic sense is an expression through which a benefit is obtained. Okay? And then you have the meaning of speech in the grammatical sense. And this is where it is important for us to focus in on this definition because we are currently studying Nahu, grammar. Okay? So the scholars, that they explain that speech, as the Shaykh, he says, هو اللفظ المركب مفيد بالوضع. Okay, so it must have 4 traits in order for it to be considered as speech to Arabic grammarians or even people of the Arabic culture. That it must be an oral utterance. It must be articulated off of the tongue, and it must be compound, which is 2 words or more, and it must be something that is understandable, clearly understood in the Arabic language, and it must be used in the mode or communicated in the mode of the Arabic language. The Arabic language must be the means of which the speech is expressed. So when a word is compound, when it's articulated, it's beneficial, and it's clear in the Arabic language that it is considered as kalam. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Regarding the meaning of or the types of speech, okay? The types of speech that we'll cover inshallah ta'ala are three. The Shaykh, he says, وَأَقْسَامُهُ ثَلَاثَةٌ اسم وفعل وحرف جاء بمعنى. The Shaykh, he says that this speech is divided into three groups. And these groups are al-ism, a fi'l, and a harf. And then he says that we will explain, or the explanation will come. All right? So an ism, what is an ism? An ism, for the closest translation, would be a noun. But it doesn't do its justice, because the meaning of an ism in the Arabic language encompasses more than an ism in the English language, which we will call a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing, right? Whereas in the Arabic language, a noun encompasses way more than just a person, place, or thing. It is also descriptions and the likes, okay? And that'll be explained further, bidnillahi ta'ala. And then you have a fi'l. A fi'l is a verb. And what is a verb? A verb is an action that is constrained to time. Something that took place either in the past tense, the present tense, or the future tense. And a harf is what we would translate to mean a preposition. A preposition meaning a word that does not have a meaning in and of itself. For example, the word in, on, up, down, about, around, that these words do not have meanings in and of itself, but they give other words meaning. Okay, they help to clarify the meaning of other words, and they require additional words to clarify their meaning. So this is a ism, a fi'l, and a harf. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.